Hey guys, here we are again on the MLS Updater with me, Mike Rice, and today I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Tom Bogert. Tom, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Mike. How about yourself?
Really good, thanks. Really good. At the end of the European transfer window, you've got, like you say, you've got a little bit going on still with Julian Araujo, but it must be good to at least have this date checked off.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, a lot of days in the off season are long, but particularly the last few. So then, like getting to yesterday, I was like, oh, like, I feel all right, and then just my mind was just pretty fried, so like I couldn't focus on things. So it's
Yeah.
good. It was good to have a little bit of respite. Julian Araujo notwithstanding.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of the big ones, and obviously one that's now hanging over everyone, waiting on this clarification.
Mhm.
Any others that have really sort of caught your eye this January that's been like huge for the club, either coming in or leaving MLS?
Yeah, I mean, we stick with the leaving theme. Chicago Fire getting up to 22 million for
Yeah.
John Duran is phenomenal, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like he was developed by MLS or by Chicago. He only played 1,300 minutes or whatever it was, but like there was no club spending $20 million on MLS players. Like it just
Exactly.
wasn't, but particularly one with a track record of a year. Like again, he's extremely talented. There's a reason why he was bought for that much, but like in the past, teams could be like, all right, you're an MLS team. Here's 5 million. Like take it.
Mm.
Like we can't. Oh, like he scored 8 goals for you. Well, your league sucks, so that doesn't matter to us. So like just these little things, like there's new barriers that are coming down, whether it's the number of players, whether it's a specific league, and then in John Duran's case, like the price, like that. I think that was a really good deal for Chicago and for the league.
Yeah, completely. And like you say, yeah, not developed by the league, but the league now being watched is one that is like those stepping stones, like Benfica is maybe to those top five leagues in like in Europe as well. So it's yeah, great for the league to have these sort of deals going through. We're gonna have a little look at our, like you said before we started, our pro relegation type thing. So we're gonna look at one side each from the East and the West, who we think will drop out of the playoffs from last year, and one that we think will sort of recover. If we kick off in the East, one of those top seven that you think the business they've done, they've lost ground maybe on some of the others.
Yeah, for me, it's Montreal.
Yeah.
NYCFC would be a close second, but for all of the kind of fair criticisms of NYCFC, they have in the past shown a track record of week before the season starts, here's 3 or 4 new signings from City Football Group. So
Yeah.
while I'm pretty disappointed what their offseason was, I'll give them another month before, I really kind of slander them. Montreal, I do like some of the moves that they've done. Aaron Herrera, that was a really good trade. I think he's
Definitely.
one of the best fullbacks in the league and he should fit that system. But they don't have a replacement for Georgi Mihailovic. They just there's
No.
nobody on that like the closest on their roster is Joaquin Torres, and they traded him.
Yeah.
And even if they were like, they haven't shown any interest in spending DP money. And yeah, they got Georgi Mihailovic. That was a phenomenal trade. That's not replicable. You can't
Mm.
find for $1 million in allocation money like an elite chance creator. Like those players cost a lot more money, and if the club their front line is 38-year-old Kai Kamara, who requested a trade.
Yeah.
Mako Miljevic is currently the starting number 10, and Romel Kyoto. And look, like they lost head coach Wilfred Nancy and
Mm.
Hernan Lozada. So the style is going to be different. It's going to be less attractive to watch. Whether it's successful or not remains to be seen. But they just don't have enough in the attack for me to trust them to go out and get points.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I'm quite keen to see how Sean Raya does, who's had a bit of time in the Canadian Premier League last year,
Yeah.
but he's not a replacement for Georgi Mihailovic. He's got a lot of time to get going, and like you say, the change with Lasada coming in is going to really shake up how things are going. And yeah, like Aaron Herrera is great coming in at right back, great replacement for Alistair Johnson, but yeah, still a lot of questions going on for me. Like you mentioned, you mentioned New York City FC. There's still concerns. I guess for me, it is Cushing when he took over in an interim spot. It took him a little while to get the players going, and that was with the same roster. Now he's got an entirely new roster coming,
Mhm.
but almost with the amount of departures that are gone. He's lost Kyans, he's lost Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
There's still to replace Tati. Maxi's gone. Can he? Can he get this side? Can he change a whole roster and get them on his side
Yeah.
quickly enough to really compete on all fronts? Because they're going to want a trophy. I think they're not. It's not like they're going to sit out of Open Cup and Leagues Cup. So for
Of
me, they're
course.
the questionable ones as well.
Yeah, look, like they I don't want to so they have a 14-year-old homegrown Argentine American kid Maximo Caruso, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's a really talented player, and he's an awesome talent prospect. He started all of their preseason games with the first team because they don't have any midfielders. Like, the kid is super talented, but he's a child. Like, that can't be. He should be, like the Red Bull signed Bento Estrella, like when he was, I think, just turned 15. We haven't seen him for a year and a half because he's 15, right?
Exactly.
Like, they just don't have any players right now. It's weird. Like, they don't, like you said, they didn't replace Dati. They haven't replaced Maxi Morales yet. And Santi Rodriguez would have been the replacement. He's gone. Alex Collins is one of the 2 best center backs in the league. And he's gone. If I'm an NYCFC fan, like, their 2 best players now play for a different City Football Group club with Tati and Collins playing with Girona. Like, it's been a tough offseason.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, they're gonna be. It's gonna be interesting for me as well. Tyus Magno's a winger for me. I think he's so much better when he can go in. If now he's being relied upon as a 9, and I don't think, like, watching from afar, I don't know if he enjoys it, let alone can play in that role. So.
That's a good way to put it, because like one of my favorite traits about him is like when he collects the ball in space on the wing, and he's kind of carving out defenders, and like now he needs to do, like, Tati Castellanos was so good at like part of like some of the dirty work, whatever that center forwards do, occupying center backs and chasing things down and putting a shoulder into somebody's rib cage, or whatever it is, all these things.
Yeah,
like Tyus Magno, like that's not really his game, and like he's trying to do it and like trying to, so but like he's better when you just let him cook on the wing. I've talked to a couple MLS people who are like, as a winger, he's got the potential to become a Champions League level player. It's like at center forward, I don't know, like he's still talented, but like everybody kind of agrees that winger's where he should play. So hopefully that he'll get enough minutes there too.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go down then and look at the sides that missed out last year. If I'll kick us off, I'm going to go with New England. I think the changes that happened from last year, some of the injuries they had last year, the signings that didn't work out. Obviously, Sebastian Lechett's moved on to AFC Dallas, Josie Altidore, like things didn't work out. I think some of the signings they've made, Dave Romney at the back, will help secure that. I think like the goalkeeper and fullbacks were some of the best in the league last year. With adding Dave Romney, I think just adds a little bit more consistency. I think at times Farrell and Kessler, like if the games weren't going their way, like it caused too many issues. And now adding Latif Blessing as well, I think that adds someone who can mix between the midfield and the attack, who adds that so much effort off the ball, pressing forward, and wins it up there. And that's going to be something that Carlos Hill's going to he's going to love. So my biggest question in them is if Vrioni can become that striker.
Yeah, that is the worry. But you still have, and like, where does Gustavo Bo play? How does he fit in? Like, they have a lot of talented players in attack. Doesn't particularly fit because like Carlos Hill can play on the right, but look, he's one of the best players in the league at playing as a number 10. You want to get him as much touches as you can. Yeah. The other thing that was with the Revs last year is they had so many injuries. Like I kept making the jokes. It was just like Carlos Hill and the boys. Like that. Yeah. That was what the attack was. It was just him plus whoever's fit, just getting the lineup. So that's the idea. Like last year, like I think this is a good shout. I'll pick another team so we don't kind of be redundant. But like last year, in like August, I remember saying that like they just tied somebody, but it was a good game, and like watch out, like when the Revs are getting healthy, like they're gonna be a problem in the playoffs. Like even though like they're not playing well right now, and then I think from that point on, they might have won 1 or 2 more games and missed the playoffs, obviously. So take all of my analysis here with a grain of salt, because nobody knows what they're talking about.
So how about you? Any other teams you think who we should be watching, like outside? Another one for me maybe would be Columbus.
That's where I was going.
Yeah,
that's where I was going. Like, look, any team that has Zelarayan and Cucho Hernandez, we talked a little bit. Wilfred Nance is the coach. I think really highly of him. Like that team, the core of that team being Cucho and Zelarayan, 2 extremely high level attacking players in this league. Darlington Nagbe, a high-level central midfielder. Jonathan Menza, high-level center back. Milos Steganik and Eloy Room. Like, that spine is so strong. It's baffling to me that they didn't make the playoffs the last couple of years, because you start there and, I could play left back and you can pick up points, right? Like, that is so strong. I don't get it. It was an anomaly. It was weird, the goals they conceded. Like, there's some luck like anything else. Like, so it's like that they're a pretty obvious one to kind of, make the jump. I like Christian Ramirez. I think he's going to fit well. I assume that Wilfred Nance is going to play his 3-5-2 again. So that would have Cucho playing pretty free with Christian Ramirez kind of holding up, occupying center back. So they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to see if Jason Russell-Rowe and players like that can get
Yep.
rotations in there. And they conceded so many in the last moments of games
It's
last year,
crazy.
didn't they? So I
Crazy.
think with a new fresh approach, maybe with Nancy, will give them that chance to then just
Mhm.
turn some of these draws, which were wins, up until like the 91st minute.
Yeah.
So it should be big. Obviously, Nashville's going to shake up what happens in there coming back over to the east. But, yeah, very difficult side of it. Let's move across to the west then. Aside, who you feel will be dropping out of the playoff race from last year?
Can I say Nashville because they're not going to be in the conference? That's like an easy one. As for the teams that made the playoffs, like, the obvious one would be Real Salt Lake. But like I've said this like 3 goddamn years in a row,
Yeah.
and just every year, it doesn't matter what, they find a way. So like I should be just giving them more respect, just blanket. But like if you make me pick another team, it'd probably be them just because of the talent efficiency. But like Pablo Mastroeni's a wizard. He's like, I've got all the respect for them, so it doesn't matter what I say about them. But that's who I'd pick. Just like you look around and it's like Portland, Seattle, like even Columbus got a lot better. Kansas City, like these teams that are below the line, like that's a lot of talent kind of coming up. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure RSL will be around the playoff line for a while.
Yeah, it's been strange that the wingers the only spot they've really added to with RSL. It's a bit of a strange one for them. For me, I've got concerns over Minnesota. With obviously how terribly things went when Debasi got injured last year.
Yeah.
They brought in obviously a young Swedish defender. Even they've got someone coming in the summer.
So they're pretty confident. Mickey Tapias is his name. He plays for Pachuca. They're pretty confident they're going to get a deal done for him to come now because give Pachuca a little bit of money for him to leave a few months early. Like, what good is it for Pachuca to have a player that's leaving regardless?
That's what that was to say. That's going to be vital, I think, because it's like Devasi's not going to be back till Leagues Cup, probably, the way it's sounding at the moment. And at the moment, Reynoso's not even training with them. He's not part of the squad at the moment. I'm not sure what's happening there. Speaking with people who cover Minnesota, of like, shall we panic now or So then so much is reliant on him. They're still chasing another striker, Luis Maria. I like him because he looks like there's parts of him that you think, oh yeah, he could do something great, but then you've been saying that for 3-4 games, and then it happens. So, and I think that's going to be their biggest issue with teams improving below the line, which we'll bring up. I think they just could fall behind a little bit.
Yeah, and another one with Debasi is that like whenever he is fit, like that was a significant long-term, like excruciating injury. He's 32. Like, I don't know if it's fair to expect, his first game back. All right, he's going to look like, an elite level center back like he was towards the end. Like, I think he's a very, very good player. I hope that he gets back. But I mean, it's something to worry about because, like you said, when he wasn't there, it was drastic. And I guess the hope is that Mickey Tapias and maybe Mikael Marquez, depending on if he's ready for regular minutes, like that between like that the group will get better. So even if Debasi isn't at 100% peak level that he was last year, that the collective will be all right. But that's definitely a concern. The Reynoso stuff, without him, they have no chance. So that's a concern too. So I don't know. There's a lot of question marks for this team.
Okay, going on to the Western Conference, the Western Conference, the teams that didn't make it last year. There's a number of very strong sides who missed out. It was very close going into those final weeks as well. Who do you think's going to be making that jump up?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of obvious choices. Again, Kansas City, Seattle, Columbus, even Vancouver, I think have a really talented first 11.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Portland for right now. I think that there's worries about their kind of central defending, that group, but like they added Evander, $10 million, attacking me. He was leading the Europa League in goals. I think this dude's going to be a star in this league. That midfield trio of Evander, Eric Williamson, and Diego Chara might be one of the best, if not the best in the league. Like, I think that team has too much. They're going to add another forward as well. And from the targets I've heard, they're difference maker kind of level players. So I think that Portland are going to be a super fun team to watch because that's going to have a ton of it's going to have firepower, and they might not be the most responsible defensive team. So I think that they'll be a neutral favorite. Again, they have the talent to get over the line.
Yeah, that was the only question I've sort of had about them was what they're going to do at centre forward, because like Niashgodo and players, they did quite well at times, but then drifted out a bit like Luis Amaria, like we said. Like at times they can, the system works for them and the players around them give them opportunities. But
Yeah.
I guess some moves need to be made to bring in some players as well. I think they've got all 3 DP spots filled now, haven't they? At the moment, is that right? So
Yeah. So I mean, they could have added a young DP, and maybe they will, but from what I've heard, like it's going to be kind of like a TAM level, like a significant addition, but not a designated player.
Yeah, I guess obviously with Nashville coming out and St. Louis coming in, you've got teams like Seattle who will probably be up there again without CCL. They've tied down Roldan and Morris to long-term contracts. Hebert behind. I'd love to see them sign a new striker for the future as well. I keep watching this and to keep thinking someone's got to comment. Rui Diaz can't do it forever. And now I'm bringing in Hebert, who's about the same age. Montero is an incredibly old front line, but still quality, obviously, for this year. But I'll go with Sporting Kansas City. I'm quite excited about them attacking wise. They just need to bring in a new centre back, I think. But when you get players like Alan Pulido and Kinder coming back, the way you can ease them in from a year out rather than going, right, oh, thank God they're back, get them in the starting lineup. Where like I think Eric Tommy and Willie Agado have just shown that there's like it's not like they have to rely on these people anymore.
Two really good signings. When that first happened in the summer, it like they were, desperation, has a bad connotation, but like, look, they desperately needed those. So like, I was afraid that they were like, oh my God, we just need to sign somebody. Yeah. And it turns out those were two, really, really good signings. Like Agata, like if they play 4-3-3, Polito's going to be on the bench. Agata is the starter. Yeah. And it's going to be tough to drop Eric Tommy as well. So just really good work by them. And one more point is that for me, like, they got really unlucky with injuries last year, but one spot that they could have planned a whole lot better for, that they need to take kind of the blame for, is defensive midfield. They cut Jose Mari 15 minutes in the first game because that shouldn't have been a surprise. They couldn't have like not known that was a possibility. So like that was a really troublesome position for them. Remy Voltaire, played well, but they want him to be an 8. They went out and signed Nemanja, I'm blanking on the name, Radovic.
Yep.
This offseason, and he's somebody who has like a lot of European experience. He's still 30, end of his prime, but still in his prime. Like that's a really key signing that I don't think many people are talking about as well.
No, yeah, I think, and the form that they had at the end of the season when players did start to get, like, if they got a settled lineup, Daniel Chaloui's obviously committed as well, so he's someone they can rely on again going forward next few years. So I think they seem to have tied everything together in a lot of areas, and it's just that's the center of defense, but I think they're going to be another one, like you say, like Portland, who are going to be quite fun going forward, and we can
I think so too.
But Tom, thank you so much for joining me. We'll have to see how well we come by the end of the year, whether these sides have finished.
Don't write any of this down.
Still a month, a little while to go till the season kicks off, obviously, and plenty more moves, which I'm sure you'll be rubbing your eyes and staring at the screen over for quite a few more weeks. But thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Mike. Thanks for taking the time, man.